What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Happy October 31st. It's Halloween. Jay's all dressed up. You can see. Anyways, my name's Indy. That gentleman, he's dressed up as a North Carolina hillbilly.
I'm dressed up as somebody who's cold. There we go.
There's somebody who's cold. It's winter. Yeah, so welcome to Indie Game Business. And April, don't remember to unmute in Discord. So today we've got April Stallings from Make-A-Wish International. And we're talking about how games bring hope to kids. And there you go. Now you're unmuted.
I'm unmuted. Sorry.
There we go. So welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I always love talking about gaming and wishes, but I really enjoy talking to you guys. So this is going to be great.
She says this, but she totally shot down my meeting request for Gamescom, and then it ran into me.
No, I couldn't get there. I couldn't get there. The flights, my flight got canceled. I was a day late. It was awful. But we ran into each other standing in line. Remember?
Because we had the wrong. I had the wrong tag and couldn't get in early.
Yeah.
If y'all want to know how much moving our podcast 30 minutes actually throws everybody off, we did it to accommodate April, and all of us have been completely screwed all morning logging in at the wrong times, and it's all good. We're here. We're having fun. So you're probably going to have a unique take on this, but the first question that we always like to ask is, how did you get into games? And walk us through your career up to this point.
I actually have a really good story for how I got into games. So I am of a certain age, where my father, when I was like 8 or 9, owned like the only video arcade in our small town. And it was called Wizard World. I remember that. And it was the OG stuff, right? So it was like the pole position cabinet, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool to have a dad who owned the only video arcade in town. And at night,
with the cool kids,
yeah. At night, when he would do the books, he'd lock up and do the books, and he would turn the machines on to free play or he'd give us the key to turn the machines on to free play. And so my sisters and I would just like go to town, like playing all the original cabinets. So yeah, that's how I started. But I mean, I've had every generation of console since the Atari, and yeah, I mean, still right now I'm playing Borderlands 4. One of my favorite games of the year has been Blueprints, which is just a remarkable game. So yeah, career-wise, I've been in nonprofit since almost day one of my adult life. I got a degree in marine biology, which
sweet.
Yeah, which was great, but I ended up working for a conservation organization right after that. And yeah, I've been with Make-A-Wish for 8 years now, I think, all total, between Make-A-Wish Canada and now Make-A-Wish International. So yeah, and I finally got to do something where I get to talk about games and enjoy games and make the world a better place. So it's all good.
You're actually more current on games than I am right now.
Is that right?
I am habitually a year or 2 years behind the curve.
Yeah.
So I have Borderlands 4. I have not even fired it up yet
though. It's great. It's a good. They've gone back to the roots. It's good stuff.
That's awesome. And isn't that how the Wreck-It Ralph movie started, with the people playing free play in an arcade after closing?
Yep. It was ultimately Wizard World was not a successful franchise. Turns out a bunch of kids standing around not spending quarters isn't the best business model, but it sure was fun while it lasted.
So for those out there who do not know, what is the mission? What is Make-A-Wish? What's the mission? What sort of stuff do you do?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, so Make-A-Wish, we're kind of set up where we have Make-A-Wish America, which takes care of the 50 states, Make-A-Wish International, which is who I'm with. We take care of literally the rest of the world. And what we do is we grant wishes to children who've been diagnosed with life-threatening critical illnesses. And those wishes come from the children. It's a whole journey that we take them on from start to finish, where they are able to think about, design, help plan, have the best day of their, life with their wish day. But then also, it's a journey that keeps going after that. So, it's really designed on the principles of positive psychology, and it's really aimed at helping keep their mental wellness their physical wellness up. Kids who get wishes have better physical outcomes from their treatment. It really helps with their family mental wellness. There's so much good that comes from a wish. So we do that around the world. We do it in 50 countries. This year, international's on pace, I think, to grant around 17,000 wishes.
Wow.
America probably will do about the same. Collectively, we've done over 600,000 wishes in the lifetime of the charity.
And John Cena is only responsible for 5% of that or something?
He is outpaced any celebrity by far. Like, no one's even close to catching him. He just did one in his last match, actually. The European matches that they're doing right now. He's retiring again. And he took the time to grant a wish. And, I was talking to our wish granter the other day, and he asks for a dossier on each kid. He wants to know all about them. He wants to understand going into it, what their challenges have been, what they're facing, what they love about him. Really researches it, does an amazing job on granting his wishes.
That actually doesn't surprise me. I saw a whole
I know, right? Yeah.
He will rate a city that he travels to by the best coffee shop. And then even the coffee shop and I'm like, dude, you're one of us. You are on the spectrum somewhere. So
one of us
end up in games, I don't know. But...
he's a bit of a renaissance man. I was watching a video where he was granting one of the wishes in Belgium, and he's just speaking flawless French to this child. And it was layers.
When do you have time to learn French?
I know. And I really enjoy Peacemaker. Peacemaker's been such a great show too. So if you haven't seen that, it's fantastic.
Yes. So, I mean, I would imagine over the last 15, 20 years, or even, recently, a lot of the wishes have geared towards something in video games. I mean, how have you seen that change?
Yeah, no, that's actually a really astute question, because absolutely. Wishes are kind of in sort of 4 categories. There's I wish to meet, so that's the kids who want to meet people like John Cena, things like that. I wish to be, so that's the kids who I want to be a fireman for the day, I want to be a zookeeper for the day. I wish to have, which is obviously mostly where video games come in. And then there's I wish to go, which is travel wishes. I want to go to, my favorite theme park, or I want to go to, meet my relatives in a country I've never been to. But back to the gaming part of it. So, I mean, it's always been kind of slowly growing, but we saw almost exponential growth during the pandemic, right?
Oh.
I mean, if you think about the correlations between the life of a medically, complicated child and what we all had to go through during the pandemic, right? Where we were all supposed to be in isolation and, disconnected from friends and families and things like that. Well, our kids still go through that. They go through that all the time with treatments like chemotherapy, immunotherapy, that sort of stuff. So gaming, especially with the evolution of cross-platforming and in-game, voice chat services, those sorts of things, has really become a lifeline for our kids. So what we saw during the pandemic was, during that time, it was almost 200% year over year, where we were getting, I wish to have my favorite console. I wish to have, a new gaming PC. So yes, it is, and it's slowed down, obviously now that the world has returned back to, some relative normality, but it's still growing and it's still becoming, I wish to have, depending on what part of the world you're from, can mean I want to have a mobile device so I can play my favorite, mobile game. Yeah, it's huge. It's our fastest growing category, wishes still.
So, I mean, and this is logistics, and we're going to dive into my own curiosity now. Do you have just a warehouse of Xboxes somewhere?
No.
How did the kid ask for a PS5? You're like, oh, hold on a second. We got one aisle 3 right here.
I wish. I mean, that would certainly be the dream. We have a lot of partners who help out, in a lot of different ways, but no, we don't have a dedicated, you get 1,000 of this console every year or anything like that. We would love that. A really great example is, Secret Lab, the chair people, right? The chair and the desk people. They're based out of Singapore, and what they've done for us for the past 3 years is, they've given us an allotment of chairs every year, and they take care of the shipping. Kids who want a game room, a redesign or whatever, they take care of the shipping and everything. The product itself, they don't even give it to us at a discount. They just give it to us. So yeah, we're always looking for kind of partners who are the virtual version of that warehouse. That would be amazing. But no, we don't have that. Usually what we do is we fundraise and then those items are purchased in country, because otherwise logistically it can be, there's some parts of the world that we're in that you can't, it's a lot easier to do in country stuff than ship it in.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when they're asking for, I mean, aside from like, I want a PS5,
Yeah.
what sort of things in games, are they asking for?
Oh, no, yeah. So content creators are a big part of it now, right? Like, I want to meet my favorite streamer. We had a really good example of a kid. Gosh, I'm trying to think how long ago that was. A couple of years ago now. He was also in Belgium. Belgium's coming up a lot. But he had a condition where he would eventually lose his vision, his sight. And his favorite game was Clash Royale, which is made by Supercell. And we reached out to them and we were like, hey, what do you think we can do around this? And they managed to put together a private session for him to play with his two favorite content creators, sent him a whole bunch of skins and everything like that before he lost his vision. So he would always have, like, that memory of what he had done when he was, visually able to do that. So yeah, a lot of content creator stuff. That's one of my favorite examples of that. We recently had a kiddo who flew from Ohio over to Stockholm because he wanted to go to the headquarters of Mojang, the Minecraft folks. And he was king for a day there. They treated him to so much. They took him behind the scenes of their, the filming of their next live. Gave him cake and presents, let him go into the gift room. Took him into some rooms that, you're not allowed to like film him because it's all top secret stuff. He got to hang out with the devs and ask questions. So that's another example, of kids wanting to be engaged with games. Yeah, so I would say to have, going to studios, meeting content creators. We had a really great one, a kid whose diagnosis didn't allow him to travel, and he wanted to meet the team behind Helldivers. And he's an older kid, right? So he got to do a virtual session with the whole team behind Helldivers. They spent hours with him, even on their tight development timelines and everything like that. They made space for him to bring his friends with him and chat virtually with him. It was great. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, do the wishes, do they usually come from the big AAA titles, or do you get a lot of kids that are like, hey, I want to do something that's more on the indie level?
It's all up to the kid. I mean, like, obviously, things are weighted towards the AAA titles as far as that goes, but there's also a lot of like, I want to learn how to develop a game, right? Or I want to learn how to be a game developer, or I wish to become a character in a game, things like that. And I mean, I think the value for indie studios is how nimble indie studios are. Like, there's a lot of decision-making layers the bigger you get. And I think that's true for any industry. But indie teams are just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, they're so flexible, they're so invested. They're so much closer, I think, to the heart of, like, the heart of gaming these days. So yeah, it's good.
So Tom's asking, what are some of the most memorable wishes you've ever helped fulfill?
Oh boy, that's a good one, Tom. Gosh, this one has nothing to do with video games, but I share it every time I ask this question because it's the first one that my heart goes to. There was a kiddo who, he was older. He was 17, turned 18 during the course of his treatment, and before he got sick with a cancer called rhabdomyosarcoma, which is like a muscle and bone cancer. He was a basketball player. And what he wanted for his wish was he wanted to design his own shoes, his own pair of basketball shoes. And, we went to some of the big basketball shoe companies and they were like, no, sorry, we can't do that, trademark, blah, blah, blah. So what we did was we just got him to give us the pictures of his 5 favorite pair of, kicks that he loved. And we sent it all to a cobbler in Detroit, I think, was where this person was. And I was up in Canada, right? So this person put together these amazing shoes, one of a kind, called King J's. That was the kiddo's name. His nickname on the court was King J. And, Jay's cancer was terminal, sadly, but time was running out, and we were so afraid that these shoes would get caught in customs that we actually had the cobbler fly up with them in his suitcase, grabbed them from him, drove the 3 hours up to the children's hospital where he was. And this kiddo, who had not gotten out of bed in weeks because he was so weak, put on his shoes and he walked around the oncology ward showing them off to the nurses and the other kids and things like that. And, you know, I talked to his dad a lot after he passed away. And, you know, he told me, he said, you know, it gave him something to talk to his friends about, because like 18-year-old kids don't know how to talk to each other about dying, you know? So when they would visit him in the hospital, you know, he would talk to them about the shoes. The Miami Heat made a video for him, so they would talk about that. You know, it's just, yeah, to this day, that's still my favorite wish. That's still my most memorable wish.
All right. See, we're not used to having like heartfelt podcasts.
Sorry.
So I'm just sitting here stunned silence. I'm like, oh.
I do want to clarify, though. I think this is a pretty common misconception about what we do, is that all of our children are not terminal, right? Most of our kids, you know, go on to recover from their medical treatment. You know, cancer survival rates in adolescence gets better and better every year. But, you know, in this case, it sadly was. But I do think it's important for people to know that, like, you know, that's not all of our children.
I actually didn't know that. I thought it was.
No, yeah.
I thought that was one of the criteria.
No. It's life-threatening or critical is the criteria.
Gotcha. Well, my next question you've already hit. I was like, are there any other examples of, you know, developers or publishers that you've worked with that stand out?
Yeah. I mean, we've done some great stuff, you know, again, with big AAA titles. You know, we had some wonderful fundraising experiences with the team at Blizzard, with their World of Warcraft charity pet program. You know, we actually had a child whose wish was to design a skin in League of Legends for his favorite character, and they graciously did that for him. I'm trying to think my gosh. Yeah. I mean, recently, you know, we've done some smaller activations with studios, but I've got a games committee where I've got people who sit on there, and, you know, there's people from indie studios who play an important role in that, people from AAA, video game lawyers. So yeah, I mean, people are always willing to help, which is really nice. I think gaming, though, is going, sorry. I think gaming's undergoing a bit of a cultural shift, though, where the grind is overtaking, you know, kind of the more giving aspects of it. And I think that has been a challenge for my program for sure.
So, all right, we'll go into that. What do you mean by the grind is?
I mean, I mean, everybody sees it on LinkedIn or whatever all the time, right? The layoffs, the mergers, the acquisitions, and the continuing, like, you know, disquiet, I think, you know, in the games industry. You know, I think indie is thriving right now, though, because of it, truthfully. I mean, like, I think indie studios are really where, you know, the innovation and the creativity in gaming are coming from right now. So I think that's been a really nice kind of unexpected outcome of that. But I mean, I remember back in the day, whenever it was like every studio had, you know, a CSR program or a charitable giving program and things like that, and they talked about it. And now, you know, rather than appear like they're not, you know, maximizing, you know, profit or whatever, a lot of them are keeping it very quiet what they're doing too. So it's not to say that, you know, things aren't happening out there, but the games industry isn't talking about charitable giving the way it used to.
I can see that a lot with the bigger, especially the studios that are public or have a lot of investment in them, or the ones that are owned by somebody who is public. Yeah, I can absolutely.
Which is almost everybody in some way or form now, right? I mean,
well, in AAA, but not necessarily on the indie stuff. I mean, but you can also qualify Arrowhead with Helldivers as indie in some sorts, but not exactly others type thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I can see that with the bigger studios, but with the smaller studios, you should be able to have a little more luck, because they are. Yeah. We all know, you know, it is nimble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your freaking story just completely took me off my game.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Jay. I apologize.
It's all. I mean, I think I told you in Germany, I have a touch of not necessarily Make-A-Wish, but, you know, we were the recipients of one of those programs when our son was 6 months or something like that. He's fine now. I have to take him trick-or-treating tonight in the cold. It's okay. It's all good. So why do you think there has been more wishes going to games, and what are the unique parts of gaming in general that you think are attributed to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think accessibility again is, I mean, our kids get captured by gaming, I think, fairly easily because they can do things and be characters that they physically could not do in their normal lives, you know. Um, it's a distraction, you know, it's a healthy
Yeah.
distraction, you know. I think anybody who's ever spent any amount of time in a hospital knows that it's this roller coaster of activity, boredom, and that goes along with fear and anxiety, boredom, fear and anxiety, boredom. And video games are such a great distraction for that. And I mean, as an extension of that, right, content creators are the new celebrities. You know, we talk about John Cena, but you know, last weekend at Disney World or Disneyland, no, it's Disney World, you know, we had a bunch of, you know, content creators grant group wishes, right? So, and I mean, content creators can be anything, but a lot of times they are directly tied to game titles, you know, themselves. So yeah, I mean, I think it goes down to accessibility. I think it goes down to connection. You know, it's something they can do with their friends, even if they're not regularly attending school, because of their illness or something. Um, and it also goes to like imagination, you know, like they get to be characters and do things that right now are out of reach for them. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
I think a lot of us as parents saw it during the pandemic,
Yeah.
because if we had not had, I mean, obviously this is a big video gaming house. I mean, no
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
But if they had not had that social aspect of it, for the kids couldn't go see each other, but they could get online and
Yeah.
talk and hang out. I was like, it would have been mental breakdown after mental breakdown of everybody in the house if that was not something. And the beauty of it was all those parents who look down at what I do and they're like, oh, video games they're evil, it's the devil, blah, blah, blah. It took a week
Grow
and
up,
a
dude.
half of pandemic before they called me and they were like, so tell me about Minecraft. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't even make it 2 weeks, did you? So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I can see that completely.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you
Okay.
this.
All right.
As the child, my kid's 19, yours is 14.
Yeah.
Like I was worried for a while there because I thought my kid wasn't socializing. And it turns out like there's no more like going over to anybody's house. They just all get together online. Like, is it like that for your kid?
So I can go up there. Keep in mind, he goes to a public school, but it's a really, really small mountain public school. So
Yeah.
his
Okay.
entire grade level is like 35 kids, and that's split
Wow.
into 2 classes. I can go up there. He will have the game he's playing on one screen, like something distracting, because we all have ADD on the other screen. But they have an entire, if they're not in Discord together, the entire grade level has a chat that they're in. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like that all the time. I mean,
I had to reframe it. Like I'm pro. I mean, obviously I'm a gamer. I'm pro gaming, but I had to reframe what socialization looks like in my brain with my kid. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We got a question about
Sorry.
Roblox, but I mean, Roblox is the one that I go up there and I'm like, what are you playing? And you're like, Roblox.
Yeah.
And it's like, looks like, sorry, Roblox people, it looks like shit. And I'm like, why? But that's it. It's the new mall.
Roblox
like
is,
when we
is
were
the,
kids, that's
is
where
the one,
everybody,
yeah.
that's where everybody goes.
So yeah, I can definitely answer that. Yeah, Roblox has been part of a wish. Absolutely. So they did a great wish a few years ago. There's a really rare item in the game called a Dominus hat. And we had a kid who wished to design his own, and it's very unique and it's very special and it's very high value. And they just gave him the best experience designing his hat, naming his hat, and all of that. I will say there was a bit of another side of the coin where like some trolls started bothering him because he was so open about it online. He was making videos and things like that. So that was unfortunate, that kind of like element is out there to sort of try to suck the joy away from stuff like that. But they gave him the best experience and it was wonderful for him.
So, I mean, in that situation, how do you all deal with the dicks, or, help teach the kids how to deal with the dicks?
I mean, I honestly, I don't know that we have like it's not so common that we have like a process or things like that. He was older, his parents were part of it. He still enjoys, it didn't take away from the joy of his wish, I don't think, but it's not something I think that we're necessarily equipped to do and to deal with, but it is something I think that's when the parents have to step in and become part of the conversation. Which I know is kind of a non-answer, but it really is a very rare thing. It hardly ever happens.
It's a lot of the it's a lot of the answer anyway, and that's one of the things that we've had to have the talk here about. What to look for online, and be careful on social media, and all of that sort of stuff. All right, so obviously our audience, my people, are much more on the indie side. So you've got Nimble, but you've also got we don't have any money.
Yeah.
It's true. We don't. That's just the reality of everything.
It's true.
So what are some of the things that indie studios can do that can make a good sized difference despite the limited amount of resources?
I mean, and I mean, my top answer is still going to speak to the economics of indie studios, but we love a good game bundle. We love a good indie game bundle that can go up. I mean, that's always something that I'm willing to talk about and explore and put together. We do an event ourselves in June called Cozy Up for Wishes, and it's content creators, like cozy content creators, people who are playing things like Animal Crossing or I mean, tons of indies are making cozy genre games right now. But we pair it with a game bundle for that weekend, right? So like that's been a really good model for us. And I mean, I would say 80% of our game bundle this past June was all indie titles and indie publishers. So that's obviously still speaks to the economics of, do I want to put my game in a bundle versus directly sell it? The other side of it though is like in-game activations. If you have a game that you've monetized in some way, and you're looking to do something to give back, like that is definitely something we can chat about as well. But then the other side of it, the wish granting side of it, is make your expertise available for a kid who wants to be a game dev. I mean, those aren't super common wishes, but they do come around pretty regularly. Helping a kid learn how to do, what to expect, those sorts of things are very helpful as well. So I just think so many, and again, I mean, so many of these sleeper titles, that are coming out of indies and blowing up, and getting a million wish lists or whatever, it's so nice to see. And I would say just, if you do catch that lightning in a bottle, just don't lose the heart of giving back, and find yourself suddenly in the same grind and the same, hyper focused reality of trying to make your next big hit, that you leave out the charitable side of things.
So, I mean, the in-game items, I mean, I am one of the owners of multiple Make-A-Wish World of Warcraft pets.
Yeah.
I don't even freaking play that game anymore. Make-A-Wish, whatever. I'm going to get this elephant, whatever it might be.
Yeah, they did. Gosh, I think they did 4 for us all total. It was massive.
I probably own all of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Tom said time is one of the best things that an indie can give. Then that makes absolute sense. Are there other unique, I mean, I would say making a pet's not necessarily unique, but are there other, in-game stuff or special stuff that indies can do aside from, I mean, are there people doing it other than Warcraft?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's one coming up in November that I can't really talk about yet because there's no agreement signed or anything. But we've got an event coming up in game where people are going to be meeting in-game challenges, the community, and it's unlocking a donation from the studio, right? So there's ways to bring your community into these things to be part of it, but also it helps with user acquisition, and it helps with sort of the money making side of it too. So it's not always just about giving back. Like there are some business strategies that can go hand in hand with that stuff too. But absolutely. I mean, like I said, the time is huge. Giving back, but with expertise and knowledge and insight, and sometimes just even opening a door and making an introduction, because even while indie studios may not have the cash on hand, a lot of them are founded by people who are coming, out of out of, decades of working for people who do have the cash on hand, right? So I mean, there's all sorts of ways to help, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, we've got about 10,000 devs and publishers in our Discord, so
I know, yeah. What a
I'm
great
fairly
community.
certain we could do something along those lines in terms of just getting bundles together or theme keys or what have you. So we've had various, charitable groups and nonprofits on here before.
Oh, nice.
I don't think we've had anyone who was as into the gaming side as you. And I will admit, having you discuss user acquisition was not something that I had
Vertical slices, user acquisition.
So what are the other business aspects? How can these indie devs helping you help them?
Oh, I mean, that's a really good question. And I don't know that I have an answer for that. I mean, we are the world's third most recognized charitable brand and trusted charitable brand.
Who's got you beat?
UNICEF and Doctors Without Borders. Yeah. Yeah, okay. That sounds right. Yeah. I do believe that study, I mean, that marketing study is a few years old, but yeah. I mean, one of the nice things about us is that we are truly global. When I say that we are all over the world, I mean, we're in 6 continents. We just opened up our first African affiliate this past year in Tanzania. We're in 50 countries doing work on the ground. So no matter where your audience is, odds are that, the messaging that can be built around working with us is we are doing something that will benefit children where you are at, right? You can talk about what you're doing with Make-A-Wish and people will know who you're talking about and what you're doing. Look, our brand has power, our brand has strength, our brand has recognition. So I always think it's a good marketing move to partner with a charity and then talk about it. Because again, I think a lot of game studios are still doing stuff. I just think a lot of them aren't talking about it because they're afraid of what the shareholders will think or whatever, right? So yeah.
Think of the shareholders.
I know. Poor shareholders.
So, I mean, I'm going to make an assumption here. Your team is not that large. And so when it comes to outreach and you reaching out to devs, it makes sense that you're going to the AAAs more because that's the most bang for your buck there. I mean, have there been campaigns where you've reached out to indie teams at all?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's definitely an area of the gaming world that I pay attention to for sure, and that I talk to frequently. Usually the answer is, we'll do what we can, which is great. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely talking to indie studios. I've got a couple of heads of indie studios who sit on my gaming committee and advise me about what's going on in the indie world. Those sorts of things. So it's my favorite part of game development, the indie space. I think the willingness is there, and whenever it makes sense, when it's something like knowledge and time and access to a studio or access to, a motion capture suit, for instance, right, is one that I can think of. So, I mean, it just kind of depends.
Is there, so at the most basic level, if a team wants to just give you some Steam codes, here's 50.
Yeah, 25. Absolutely.
Is there a place where they can go? Who do they need to get in touch with? How do they go about doing it?
You say my team is not big. I am my team. Like,
I at least thought you'd have an intern. So yeah, okay.
Make-A-Wish International, I think globally, like the core team that kind of oversees all the work going on around the world. There's like 30 of us, and I am the only charitable gaming employee. So yeah, what we do with that, when people want to donate those things, we make a database. And what happens is our affiliates all around the world. So like say someone is in Greece and they want some games to go with a gaming wish. We sort of have a first come, first serve, claim some codes and get them in the hands of the child. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll download them on a new PC ahead of time and go from there. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. But yeah, so yes, those are absolutely welcome.
Okay. I mean, we can probably help you with that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna leave here with like a million codes.
Is Ash listening to this? And if she is she going to yell at me if I start doing things?
She's like, stop promising stuff.
I can just see that happening now.
Yeah. So yes, there is a way for us to take those kind of in-kind gifts and put them in the hands of the kiddos.
So completely lost my train of thought
That's okay.
again. For those kids that actually want to learn more about that, and I know a lot of us are cynical and we're going to be like, oh, don't wish to be in the game industry. That's bad. That's not going to help you.
It's like me telling my kid not to be a marine biologist. I'm like, what did I ever do with
that's
that?
Why
I did nothing with that.
That's all I wanted to do when I was growing up was be a marine biologist. And
I wanted to be the next Jacques Cousteau. I never did a day of marine biology after I graduated.
Didn't either. I became an English major, which is just as useful. Where can they go if they just want to volunteer?
Yeah.
Because I would assume, and I'm just going to assume this, even though it's just you, that you've got some sort of database of quick. If a kiddo is like, "Hey, I want to be a game designer," you can go, "Okay, who has game designers?"
Yes,
and do that.
That's exactly how it works. Yeah.
Where do they just email you? Is there a form they sign up with?
Absolutely. And feel free to put my email in the chat. Like it's A Stallings with an S on the end at worldwish.org. So find me on LinkedIn. Like I'm on LinkedIn. You can send me a DM there. Very happy to do that too.
I'll say you can email me if you can't get a hold of April. And I will make sure it gets to her.
For sure.
Gets to her as well. What advice would you have for a small indie team? Say it's just like, 3, 5, 10 people.
Yeah.
To get involved and to do something that helps.
I mean, okay, first I would say is figure out what is close to your heart. I mean, I know I'm from Make-A-Wish, but I know that, there are people who, it could be pets, it could be hunger, it could be housing. Like there's a million causes out there. So I would say have that values check first among your team, see what's near and dear to your heart. I would say start locally. Like obviously I'm here at a global level, but for indie devs, scaling something local is probably more achievable and more impactful for their emotional well-being and who they're giving to. So, I would say start. So like Make-A-Wish is all over the world, right? Start with your country affiliate, start with your state chapter if you're in the States, right? I mean, if you decide that is where you want to head. I can definitely help at a global level. Like I can definitely kind of be like a one-stop shop for you. But I would say do the values check, find out what's happening locally, start at that level, kind of refine what it means to you to give. Does it mean an employee giving campaign? Does it mean, a pet food drive or, participating in wishes? Does it mean volunteering? We need volunteers all over the world to help grant wishes. Someone who can come in and build a PC with a kid or set up a PC, in a game room wish. Someone who can, come and talk to them and figure out what is the heart of their wish. We need volunteers all over the world. So that is always an option too. I think there's a lot of ways indie studios can get started and sort of refine what charitable giving means to them during the journey.
You keep answering questions that I'm about to ask.
Oh, okay. Ooh, spooky.
But I was going to ask, what are some of the ways, we are very cynical, especially in this industry, but in general.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that the developers can get involved and not make it look like, okay, this is just a marketing thing?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So we kind of went too far to the one way on the other question. So I'm glad we're bringing it back to the emotional side of it. Because that is important. Yeah. I mean, and when I say volunteering, I mean, we have people who represent the face of Make-A-Wish to a child. I mean, our team, let's say Make-A-Wish Chile, right? That is 3 people who serve one of the most geographically, large, spread out countries in the world. They could not do what they do without volunteers sitting down and talking to kids all over the country about what a wish means to them. What's their most heartfelt desire? How can we make that happen? And then along the way of a wish journey, right? Like, we have these little moments, we call them wish boosts, where, something special happens for the child. It can be, a video from, their favorite celebrity. It can be, a day out at an arcade to get ready for the big wish, right? Things like that. So, you really have to be a relationship builder to do that kind of work. You really have to like kids. Not everybody likes kids. Our kids are cool though. Our kids, unfortunately, I think are old souls. Like they've matured way too soon.
Yeah, they've had to grow up
Because
way
of
too
what they're
fast.
going through. Yeah. So that makes them kind of really cool to be around and talk to and be with. So yeah, I would say there's lots of ways to do this and get the feed your soul, right? Like I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind too.
We've got one of my team members in Chile, so I will absolutely volunteer her. I don't know if Margarita's listening or not, but
It
yeah,
is
congrats,
such a
Margarita.
huge country. Our team there, I admire them so much. Like they're 3 people and they cover one of the largest, like just from a
Yes.
scale and size, they cover this country in such an amazing way.
So if you had more people on your team and if you had
Yeah.
more resources,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you would like to see in terms of collaborations with the game space?
Whoa, that's such a good question. It's so funny because I was just having this chat internally here yesterday. Like, I would do more with the industry because right now my time is kind of divided between doing events that feature content creators, kind of doing charity live streams versus industry involvement, right? So I would do more with the industry. I would have less superficial conversations with the industry and more like really in-depth relationship building. Do you know what I mean? Like I would be more engaged, I think, with that stuff. We would do more in-kind resourcing, I think. You know how you mentioned like that warehouse full of Xboxes or whatever? It's my dream to actually have that kind of like product pipeline in place for Wishes. Gaming PCs, consoles, all the bells and whistles that go with it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's 2 areas that I would really, really like to see grow because it's easier for someone, I think, to give you keys and give you product than it is to find the funds in a tight budget to give you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would like to turn more of the like event creator side of things over to somebody else and really focus on the industry because that's a part where that I really enjoy. I really enjoy meeting people like you and I enjoy meeting game devs. I enjoy things like, beers at Gamescom and stuff like that. Like it's a great space.
I mean, do you all have booths at some of these things? I mean,
No, not at Gamescom. That would be, whew, I can't even imagine. Yeah. I mean, like I walk in and see a 50-foot tall Goku at Gamescom. I'm like, whoa.
I would not recommend a consumer facing one. I would
No,
recommend the business area.
I would love one day to have a B2B space at Gamescom and things like that, mainly because I feel like a feral, like just moving from booth to booth, looking for sustenance and beverages and everything. Please, sir, may I have some water? Yeah, that's been my Gamescom experience for the past 2 years. I would love to have like a home base there for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility at some of them. We did have a booth at TwitchCon for a few years, but again, that was more like consumer facing. So yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah.
So when you say you want to have more in-depth conversations with the indie teams versus the superficial ones, but dive into that a little bit. What makes it in-depth?
Just really getting to know, who you are, what you're looking for, facilitating that when I can, connecting you locally, things like that. Taking these small projects across the line. Like everything doesn't have to be 6 figures. Like we just did uh, an activation with Steer Studios, which is based in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which I know, there can be definitely some strong feelings about that, but we have a Make-A-Wish Saudi Arabia. My responsibility is to make sure those kids are getting granted wishes. And it was for, 10,000 or less, right? So, I mean, it doesn't always have to be swinging for the fences on this stuff, right? So just finding out like what is possible, I think is what I mean when I say in-depth conversations. everybody's working with different limitations, different resources. It really just kind of the way we do on the Wish journey, digging to the heart of the matter and seeing what's really going to fill your bucket, if that makes sense.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, from the indie dev side and even the indie publisher side as well, the big thing continues to be discoverability.
Yes, yeah.
All this stuff coming out, and we're pushing 20,000 games.
We're all slaves to the algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. Are there levers that you can pull on the Make-A-Wish side? Make-A-Wish. I think I just said Make-A-Wish. Make-A-Wish side.
Have you heard me?
To help promote games, to get them out there? Is there spaces online, websites, social media? Because that is going to be one of the biggest things that are going to help devs.
Yeah, one of the biggest gifts. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I was saying not if they say that they're helping Make-A-Wish, but if you say, hey, look, they're helping us, and this is a good group.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the biggest gifts I've gotten this past year has been support from a media PR company called Raptor PR. They're based out of the UK, and they mainly focus on the games industry, business to business side of things. And they've given me a year of their time and their talent to get the word out about this, right? So they've gotten us in gamesindustry.biz this year, Pocket Gamer. I mean, so many, Moby Dictum, like they've gotten us into so many great publications around the industry. And that's been fantastic. So yes, we have absolutely, taken these small activations, these small partnerships and put them in front of, the media and the outlets and things like that. So we do try, we do our best to get to amplify what's happening with every size studio out there.
So where do you see this going?
What do you mean?
Aside from getting a bigger team to do more.
Over
the next 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. I picture Make-A-Wish being one of the first charities that the games industry talks about when they do decide that charity is what they want to do. That is my whole goal, is to make sure that we are top of mind for all projects, big and small. When people think, how do we give back? And how do we, how do we make the world a better place through our games? Right? There's so much going on in the world. I think there's so much scary that happens in the world. I think it's going to be up to all of us to continue to do good things and to provide good stories and make heroes. And I think, that can be in game and that can be in real life. And I really want them to see Make-A-Wish as a way to do that for their teams and for their well-being, their emotional well-being. I want to see money raised. I want to see money raised to grant wishes. That's always my goal. I want to see the games industry become a bigger part of the fundraising that we're doing. I want to see the indie crowd find a way to feel included in that. So I think this has been a really good conversation for me, because it's given me a lot to think about and how to really make you guys see the value in being partners with us. So I think I'm going to go back and do a little bit of thinking around that too. That's kind of where I see it. I see it going to wishes in one way or another.
So how are you currently raising? When you say you want to see more money raised in general, obviously to do these wishes, to pull these wishes off, you have to have money to pay for them from somewhere.
Yeah, wishes.
How are you currently using the game industry as a mechanism to raise money?
Gifts, there's been some just straight gifts to us from the games industry. We had a wonderful, wonderful partnerships with various studios and things like that. Right now, we have launched an initiative called Infinite Wishes, and it goes from 5,000 up to 50,000, where studios can become like a sort of annual gaming wish partner. It's pretty low lift, where it's like, take this money, grant gaming wishes with it. We trust that you are, putting it where it needs to go. All the way to fully immersed partnerships where we are developing a product line, an in-game item, things like that. So it's a big spectrum. it can be a big spectrum, but that's where a lot of the industry money is starting to come from. Is kind of these special projects that we're doing. Like I said, I do a lot of fundraising events too, featuring content creators and games. Really excited. We're part of a great event called Jingle Jam that comes up in December. It's out of the UK this year, or it's out of the UK every year, but we're one of the charities they picked this year, where it'll be mainly content creator driven. So it's a lot. Like I cobbled together a lot of different streams of money into wishes, into granting wishes.
So, I mean, do y'all do are there bundles on Steam? Are there bundles on GOG or anything that you've worked with?
I would love that. It is something that I would like to do this year. Again, would love an indie game bundle if people listening it are moved to be part of that. Absolutely, we would love to do that. We do benefit from Humble Bundle occasionally, just sort of like how they sort of have regular recurring bundles for charities. So that's kind of like an always on activation for us. But a curated Make-A-Wish bundle that we have put up ourselves, we have not done that yet, and I would love to.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk.
So with the Infinite Wishes thing, I mean, that's just a straight cash.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's really designed and aimed at like cash gifts, but really it's also designed and aimed to educate that a cash gift to Make-A-Wish from the industry doesn't have to be, a budget buster for you either, right? So we really tailored it to be accessible. It's on our website. I will drop it to you so you can share it. But
I tried to Google it and I ended up with the Onion video of the kid that bankrupt Make-A-Wish because he wished the Infinite Wishes. I was like,
I love the Onion.
Like, why? Why is this
satire in more real life these days, which is shocking?
I mean, it's a hilarious video. I'll give it that.
Yeah. That's a great one.
If you go and you search Make-A-Wish Infinite Wishes, that's what comes up.
Oh my God. Maybe you should have thought about that before we named the program. That's funny.
All right. So one or two last questions.
Okay.
Not that y'all are going out of business because some kid wished for an F-14 or anything. What are some of the best good examples of the community, not necessarily the developers, but the gaming community coming together and supporting Make-A-Wish?
Oh, that's really cool. That's a good question. I mean, yeah. So like for instance, I do a lot of events that are very focused on communities, versus like just to come one, come all, be part of this. So for like instance, right now we're in the middle of an event that we call Roll for Wishes. That's really targeted at the D&D, TTRPG, communities. And I mean, let's talk about some of the great indie stuff that's happening in that space, right? Like that is prime indie territory right now. So like we had a bunch of content creators who do D&D live streaming come together last week, including one of the voice actors from Baldur's Gate 3, they raised like $12,000 in a couple of hours, just goofing off and playing a great Willy Wonka themed, dungeon crawler, campaign. And to me, the gaming community is their followers, the people who are actually donating. I've mentioned it before, but our cozy event in June, it's all those donations come from the gaming community members who are following their favorite content creators and are part of those communities. Not to mention the bundle that we put together, which again was mostly indie games. So, I mean, we do a sim racing event in February, right? That's all about these people who are, building their cool rigs, in the corner of their living rooms and being the race car driver they always wanted to be. So yeah, I mean, I think the gaming community is such an all-encompassing term for so many people who get so much joy out of, so many different types of games, right? Like it's such a weird thing to put so many people together when our interests are all so different. But they're all trying to do their best. They're all trying to do their part. This model of fundraising, sometimes it's all I have is $1, and that dollar is just as appreciated as anything else, right? So yeah, I mean, I would say the gaming community in general really likes what we do. They understand what we do. They understand that our kids are the community. Our kids are the players. Our kids are the the people who are watching the streams. And everybody kind of gets that, I think, because at our heart, if you're in the community, you're a gamer too. So yeah.
You say tabletop and Willy Wonka, and I can just think many Oompa Loompas die.
It was it was dark. It was dark.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I'm just going to shout out the GM for that. A guy named Dice Cream Sandwich is his channel name. Kevin is his name, and he did such an amazing job crafting a beautiful dark campaign that everybody really enjoyed.
At this point, we can't have this live anymore because children are going to be disturbed by what's happening in the factory.
It's true. It was a load of fun though. It was great.
Well, we're wrapping up time here. Is there anything that you haven't had a chance to plug yet? Or
no, you really dug into all of it, didn't you? You've given me some stuff to think about too, which I really appreciate and enjoy. Yeah, no, I would just say, don't feel like you're priced out of being charitable. Like I know it can feel like that sometimes when you don't have all the resources in the world at your fingertips, but volunteer, time, expertise, all of those things make a difference. So please don't ever hesitate to initiate the contact and ask the question. Like it can take us places we've not even thought of, honestly.
And remember, everybody, no matter how cynical we all are, we have to tell these kids that this is a good thing to get into, not all the brain crunching decimation of mental health that goes along with this industry sometimes.
It's true. Yeah, it's we're all about magic, so don't
exactly. Don't break the magic. There's no crunch. That's nothing.
What? No.
All right, Dan's going to come in and say all his stuff. Do you have a few minutes after we finish this up to just do a quick chat off the record?
Absolutely. Right, we'll let's chat.
Awesome. Yeah. You might have some minutes. You could just be 30. You can just tell them to back it up for 30 minutes. Awesome. Thank you so much, April. That was amazing. That was good stuff. Make a wish, everybody. And let's talk later as well. I wanted to talk about our mobile game and stuff and see what kind of thing we can align with there.
It's already happening.
Yes, it's happening. Just hit her up and say, hey, we've got this thing going on. How can we align with it? Right? She probably has ideas.
We just know a lot of people. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Right. That's half the battle.
Just introduce people to people. That's it. So thank you so much, April. It's been really awesome. It's always good to see you. Everyone, if you're not in the Discord, discord.gg/IndieGameBusiness. Look, it's right across the screen right now. So jump in there. We've got over 10,000 people. It's a bunch of great stuff. Also, IndieGameBusiness.com. You sign up for our newsletter. You get a list of publishers and people that want to give people money for making games. Yeah. And December, that's our next deep dive. December 12th.
Actually, don't ask me.
It's in the middle of December. I'll be in Florida by then because it'll be Christmas almost.
All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Halloween. Get candy. Feed your kids candy. Deal with the repercussions. Yeah.
Save me some races.
Thank you.